Well, howdy y'all, and welcome to Board Game Heaven. My name's Sheriff Raymond, and I'm here to talk to you about a little game called Cactus Town, which is soon to be published by Second Gate Games by means of a Kickstarter. And I'll put a wanted sign on the bulletin board below, and you can also click the I in the corner of this here video. Now, Cactus Town is a game about a sheriff and his deputies trying to rid the town of bandits before they loot the place and get rid of some meddlesome bounty hunters before they take the bandits and collect the bounty. And now this town ain't big enough for the 2 or 3 of us, so let's say we mosey on down to the saloon and I'll teach you the ropes of how to become the boss of Cactus Town. Okay, so let's take a look at the box first. So Cactus Town is a relatively small box. So nice artwork on the front. And on the back, it tells you what the game is about. Some of the components are listed here. It's a fast-paced game for 2 to 3 players. So let's open up the box. Okay, first of all, there's a rulebook. So it's just a very small rulebook. It lists the components on the front, and then it tells you the goal of the game, how to prepare the game, how to play, the action cards and how that works, and the run, sneaking, and dueling you can do, the sheriff cards, the bandit cards, and the bounty hunter cards, the 3 roles you can play. And there's an advanced mode as well that has special building effects. And here it says what tokens there are and how to use them. So it's a very thin rulebook, simple rules. Then we have a punch board with the characters you can play. So the stands, basically, standees. And so we have that. It's double-sided. We have the tokens here, also very colorful. So a sheet of tokens, also double-sided. And then we have the 3 different dice, one for each faction, in a nice translucent color. So that's pretty cool. And of course the stands for the standees that we just saw, and the cards. So these are all the cards. I'll open that up and then I will set up a game. To set up a game of Cactus Town, you take the Sheriff's Office card and put it in the middle of the table, and then you either take the blue deck of cards for the regular mode or the red deck of cards for the advanced mode. You shuffle the deck and you make a 5x5 grid around the Sheriff's Office. You place the 3 Sheriff and Deputy standees on the Sheriff's Office, and the bandit player takes their 3 bandit standees and picks 3 of the corners of Cactus Town, flips those over and places their 3 bandits on those 3 cards. If you're playing a 3-player game, also flip over the 4th corner of the town and place the 2 bounty hunter standees on that card. The can-can dancer is placed in the middle of one of the sides like so. The sheriff player has a jail card that they put next to the playfield and also takes the first player token. The bandit player has 3 plunder tokens. The bounty hunter player has 4 horse tokens and 1 captive bandit token. The can-can dancer takes 2 payoff debt tokens and 3 shootout tokens. Each player takes their reference card and their 4 action cards. The red ones for the sheriff, the blue and purple ones for the bandit, and the green ones for the bounty hunters. And the can-can dancer also has her own set of cards. Every player takes 1 die in their color. And if you're playing the advanced mode, you also take the peace pipe tokens, the bullet tokens, the reload tokens, and the trap tokens. Depending on whether you've used the blue or the red deck to play the regular or the advanced mode, you take the remaining deck, give that a shuffle to form the target building deck. The bandit player takes 4 cards, looks at them, but keeps them secret. None of the drawn building cards may be the buildings the bandits have started on. If that is not the case, the bandit player must discard those buildings and redraw until fulfilling this condition. Shuffle discarded cards back into the deck. Those buildings are the bandits' plunder targets. When playing with the bounty hunters, give the bounty hunters one card, and that is the target building where they can steal horses. If that card happens to be the card where they start on, also discard and draw a new one. The Can-Can player also draws 4 building cards, and those buildings are the locations where she can pay off debts. That's all you need to know to set up the game. Let's explain the rules. Cactus Town is an asymmetrical game for 2 or 3 players in which every faction has a different goal. The sheriff and the deputy's goal is to put the bandits into custody. The deputies win immediately when 2 bandits are in prison. The bandits' goal is to plunder the hidden target buildings. They win immediately if 2 bandits have escaped to the wilderness with plunder tokens. The bounty hunter's goal is to capture 1 bandit and steal 2 horses, and they win immediately once they do so. The Can-Can player's goal is to pay off 2 debts in her target buildings and win 3 shootouts. The game is played in turns, and it's always sheriff, bandit, bounty hunter when playing with 3 players, and it stops immediately when one of those players reaches their goal. Each round is played in 2 phases, the planning phase and the action phase. In the planning phase, all players pick 3 of their action cards from their hand and place them face down one by one, taking turns on a stack. That means you can only play 3 out of your 4 actions on any turn, and the first card you play face down is the last action you take, because once the stack is finished, you play them from the top to the bottom. And that is basically the action phase. Alternately, you can also place 3 of your cards face down in front of you from left to right, and then take turns revealing 1 card each and resolving them one by one. So let's go over what these different action cards do. I will start with the run action, as it is the same for all 3 factions. And when you resolve a run card, you can move any number of your standees 1 building space each, horizontally or vertically, but never diagonally. Any card I run to has to be revealed. Should any of my standees start out on a card that is not flipped over, and I choose not to run with that standee, then I may still flip over the card that standee is on. So basically, you may choose to run on the spot and then flip over that card. You may not leave a building with the run action, revealed or not, if there is another standee present on that building. The outer cards of the town are considered the town's edge, and a bandit carrying a plunder token that is on the edge of the town may use the run action to escape into the wilderness, as long as there is no other standee present. That bandit and the token is then removed from the game, never to return. Sneaking is basically the same, only available to the sheriff and the bandit, and it allows that player to move any or all of their standees 1 space each, horizontally or vertically, but you do not reveal the building you end on. You can also use the sneak action to sneak out of a building where there's another standee present. But a bandit cannot escape into the wilderness with plunder by sneaking. The duel action, which is also the same for all 3 factions, allows a character to duel another faction. You choose 1 building with at least 2 upright standees, one of which is your own, and for each standee its owner rolls a die. And the highest roll wins. If there is a tie, the challenger wins. A losing bandit is always stunned, and you represent that by putting the standee on its side. Stunned characters can no longer sneak, run, or duel, but they can only recover with the bandit action in this case. Stunned characters also do not prevent somebody from moving out of a building. When the sheriff and the deputies lose in a duel, they are pushed. And the same goes for the Can-Can dancer. The duel winner may push the deputy 1, 2, or 3 building spaces in any direction, and it does not have to be a straight line. The pushed standee reveals the building it ends on. You may move a deputy through a building with another deputy, but you may not end it on the same space. A losing bounty hunter is stunned when losing to a deputy, or pushed when losing to a bandit. In addition, if that bounty hunter had a captive bandit, then he has to release that bandit. The freed bandit appears upright in a location orthogonally adjacent to the duel location chosen by the winner of the duel. Finally, each faction has a character-specific card, and the sheriff card allows you to choose one out of 4 actions. You can put one stunned bandit into custody if they are in the same building as the stunned bandit. So for example, if this sheriff had stunned that bandit, then with the next action with the sheriff card, they could take this one into custody and place it into the prison cell. They can also choose one of their standees and run one space with that, or they can pick one of their standees and sneak with that, or they can perform a standard duel action. And a duel action again only applies to one building with at least 2 upright standees. The bandit action has 2 options. They can plunder one target building if they are in it, and then they reveal that card from their hand to show that that is their target building. They take one of the plunder tokens and place it underneath their standee. And they can do this even when there is a deputy or a bounty hunter present. Each bandit may only have 1 plunder token, and each target building can only be plundered once. The second action a bandit can do with the bandit card is to recover a stunned bandit, which simply means if you are stunned, you can place that bandit upright again. The bounty hunter has 3 options to choose from with the bounty hunter card. One of their standees may take into custody a stunned bandit if they are in the same building by removing the bandit standee and plunder token, if any, and placing them in their play area. Then place the captive bandit token underneath the bounty hunter standee. The bounty hunters can only have 1 captive bandit in their play area. Another action the bounty hunters can take with the bounty hunter card is when they're inside the sheriff's office, they can free a captured bandit by placing it upright on the sheriff's office card, together with any possible plunder tokens they may have had. And finally, they can recover a stunned bounty hunter by placing it upright again. Finally, the bounty hunters have 1 special card, that is the Horse Whisperer, and with this card they can perform one of 3 actions. They can carry out a sneak action just like the other factions. They can draw 1 card from the target building deck, or they can steal a horse if present in one of the target buildings. They reveal that card from their hand and place a horse marker under the bounty hunter standee. Each target building only provides 1 horse, and each bounty hunter standee may carry up to 2 horse tokens. The Can-Can Dancer specific card lets you move 1 space diagonally, ignoring a deadlock and revealing the building you end on. You can tempt an opposing standee from an orthogonally adjacent building to your own building, and this may overcome deadlock in the other building. Or you can pay off your debts when in one of your target buildings, reveal your target card and flip over a debt token. Those are the basic rules of the game, and in the advanced mode you use the red cards to set up your town and the blue cards as your target building cards. Now in the advanced mode some buildings will have special effects as described on the bottom of each card. When revealing a building with an effect, you must perform that effect. If a player flips over a card with a reveal effect, then the player revealing the building applies the effect once. When a card with a enter effect is revealed, then each time a standee enters that building, you apply the effect until the tokens are gone. During setup, you disregard any text on the corner buildings, and if in a duel your standee gets pushed into a building with an effect, then that effect applies to the pushed standee, not the duel winner. The icons next to the buildings' names are placeholders for future expansions. Some buildings provide tokens. Once it is revealed, you take 2 of those tokens from the reserve and put it on the card. The first standee entering that building will take 1 of those tokens, and the next one will take the second one, and then there are no more left. Now most of these tokens can have an effect on a duel except for the trap token, so let's explain them one by one. The peace pipe token can be discarded to cancel a duel. The bullet can be used to add a +1 to your roll result. The reload token can be used to re-roll your die once. And the trap token can be discarded after seeing the movement of an opponent's standee, and then you reverse that run or sneak movement of a single opponent's standee and discard the token. When using any of these three tokens in a duel, after a duel location is declared, each dueling player secretly selects tokens with a maximum of one of each kind and hides them in their outstretched fist. All players open their fists simultaneously to reveal the tokens, if any, and apply their effect. And that is how you play Cactus Town. Let's go to my final thoughts. So my final thoughts on Cactus Town by Second Gate Games. Now, before I give you my final thoughts, you need to know that when I got this review copy, this is a prototype, it was the end of 2019 and they had planned to do the Kickstarter in the first quarter of 2020. But then COVID-19 happened and they had to postpone the Kickstarter, and they used that time to improve on the game. So instead of a 2 to 3 player game, it is now actually a 2 to 4 player game. They added a fourth character, the Can Dancer, who has her own cards and her own goals. She needs to find certain characters and take vengeance on the wrongdoings that they did to her. And she needs to collect debts that others have, apparently. So she has a completely different agenda as well. So every faction in this game has their own goals, as you have seen. And the Can Dancer is a fourth one that got added to the game, which I did not cover in my initial review of this game. So I'm reshooting my final thoughts right now. So I'll start with the presentation as usual. Now this is very close to the retail version that's going to come out, except of course this prototype doesn't have the fourth player character, but the cards are of a nice quality. They are thick enough, the colors are clear and colors pop. The standees are of a good quality, the standard cardboard thickness. They fit nicely onto the stands, and you've got plenty of stands for all of these standees, so you don't need to take them off. Of course, when you're playing a 4-player game and you have all the characters, you'll need standees for all of them. So you can just connect them and just leave them on there, which is also good. Doesn't wear the standees. The tokens are of a similar thickness. They have cute artwork on them as well, and they just work fine. They are small enough to fit on the cards comfortably with all the standees going around, and they're big enough so you can clearly see what's on them. Everybody has their own reference cards, which is very handy, and they are double-sided, so that reminds you of the actions you can take. And of course the 4 character cards for each faction. And there's the blue and the red version of the game, so you have the regular and the advanced version, and all of that is presented very nicely. The rulebook is also very concise and very clear. I found it easy to read and easy to learn. And the artwork itself is also pretty cool. I really like the cartoony style of all the art on the cards and on the standees. It just looks really a lot of fun. So that is getting a 2 thumbs up for me. The gameplay was already quite fun with the 2 and 3 player version of this game that we played. And the 4th player is gonna add even more to that, of course. So now you can play it with 2, 3, or 4 players, but you can also mix up the roles. So with a 2-player game, you're playing the sheriffs and the bandits, but in a 3-player game, you don't have to necessarily get the bounty hunters, but you can also take the Can Dancer instead. There's 3 different combinations that you can make with those 4 factions, and they are all valid as long as the bandits are in the game. And then finally, of course, the 4-player version adds them all for even more chaos. I really enjoyed that. In a 2-player game, you're just going after each other. You know, you're focusing on the other player and what they're going to do and where they are going to go to fulfill their quest, their goals. So as the sheriff, you're just gonna hunt after the bandits, and the bandits are trying to avoid them and get those loot tokens. But in a 3-player game, when adding one of the new factions, which I tested with the bounty hunters, it's already a lot more chaotic because you never know who's going after who. And of course, you're all going after the bandits. But then again, the sheriffs and the bounty hunters will be doing shootouts, which the bandits can take advantage of course. And there's just a lot going on. Everybody's going all over the map. And it's super funny, and you have to make decisions. Am I going to just run somewhere? Am I going to sneak somewhere? Because if you run, you reveal the cards, but you want to know which cards are in this town, so you can find out where you can get your loot or your horses. But you'll also be revealing those same buildings for the other players, and you might be helping them. So sometimes sneaking is better, but that might not help you that much. You might get away from a gunfight, or the sheriff's getting close to you. So there's a lot of things to take into account, which I really like. Now, I also read in the new rules that all of these cards will have a number at the bottom of these cards, meaning that if you've programmed your 3 actions, you have 1 card left with a number on them, and those numbers are different on all the cards, and you can use those numbers during the resolution of your actions. So that's an extra added thing to the game as well. And I like how that adds a new mechanism to the game as well. So that's an improvement over the prototype that I have here. And I already enjoyed the gameplay as it was, but it's gotten better. So I really applaud that, and that's getting a big thumbs up as well. The replayability is good because the game doesn't overstay its welcome. It's a pretty fast game. So with 2, 3, or 4 players, your game will be over in about 30 minutes, maybe even an hour if you're taking a bit longer to think about your actions. But once you get used to the game, it plays pretty quick, and I really enjoyed it. And it does invite, to play a second time, maybe with different factions, switch up the roles, and that just gives you a whole lot of replayability. Also, because you have the regular mode and the advanced mode, you shuffle the cards. Not all of those cards, well, you'll have all the cards in the game, but they will be in a different spot, of course, every time you play it. So, and you'll have different goals to go to, different buildings to find. So the map will be different every time. There is some language dependency because all of these cards have text on them. So your tokens and your action reference card will have English text on them. And the advanced town cards also have text on them. And so there is some language dependency, but it's not a whole lot. You can actually remember what all of the buildings do. And of course, you'll soon remember all of your actions. So even if you're not that good at English, it's not very hard to overcome, but there is language dependency. Now, Second Gate Games is going to release the rules for this game in several languages, and you can find them all on the Kickstarter page. The theme itself is also something I wanted to mention because I really enjoy this theme. I really like all these factions chasing each other in the Wild West, having shootouts, duels, and you only use these dice for it. So it's a really quick and easy way to do that, but it's just a lot of fun. I think the theme fits this game very well, and that is also getting a thumbs up. The Kickstarter also has a deluxe version of the game, which comes in a bigger box, and it has deluxeified components such as a game board that you can put on the table that has spots for all the cards and a spot for the other town cards that you can draw from, and a spot where you can put your programmed cards as well, and then you can resolve them from there. So that's pretty cool. It has illustrations on it, of course, as well. That fits the theme. The standees will all be replaced by actual 3D miniatures in the same cartoony style, so that looks awesome as well. It'll come in a bigger box, and you'll also have different dice. So the standard version has these translucent colored dice, and the deluxeified version will have dice that I believe are slightly bigger and have printed sides with all of these characters' faces on them and the numbers on them. So that looks really cool as well. So if you want a little bit more pimped version of Cactus Town, then you should go for the deluxe version. But the regular retail version will have everything that you will need for gameplay. So it's just non-gameplay cosmetic extras. So to conclude, I found Cactus Town to be a wonderful
asymmetrical programming game with funny artwork and a cool theme, and we certainly had a rootin' tootin' cowboy shooting great time with this one. I'm giving this a 2 thumbs up. Check it out on Kickstarter. The link is below, or by clicking the I in the corner of this video. That'll take you there as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you hit the bell icon, you'll also get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Board Game Heaven.